Concrete classes are best explained in terms of class-based programming languages and are related to the idea of abstract classes. So the concrete classes came from class-based programming rather than prototype programming and are related to the idea of abstract class. So an abstract class defines an interface but doesn't necessarily provide implementations for all its member functions. So it's up to you to decide what would you do with that member. So there's a name given out to you, but you could choose to implement that. Do the implementation or the private one we discussed with modules. So it acts as a base class from which others are derived. A derived class that implements the missing functionality is called a concrete class, which are the implementation that can be done by the mediator behind that command request object. So the command in mediator is really used using this abstract class, where the concrete implementation or the concrete class are the implementation you would do with the mediator um, behind that command request object. So you basically passed an object into this mediator that inherit from an abstract class, which then decide to whichever object it will pass or whatever it will do to that object. Now, base and so just like this figure 7.12, as you can see, we have a command client. So a receiver, it added an action, and that receiver inherited from a concrete command, and then it execute the command. So as you can see, this is the mediator, this is the client. So the client passed to a mediator, and then this invoker are the abstract class that pass the inheritance to concrete command. So as you can see, invoker has an execute, and this concrete command has an execute as well. And there is a receiver. So this concrete command added an action aside from execute that it will use to process this client command. Now, base and concrete classes can be implemented in JavaScript ES 2015 plus using extends keyword applicable to JavaScript classes. So an abstract class and a concrete class to implement that name or method that doesn't have implementation of a base class can be implemented using extend keyword in JavaScript. The general idea behind the command pattern is that it provides a means to separate the responsibilities of issuing commands from anything executing commands, delegating this responsibility to different objects instead. So the idea is that these commands are the one issuing it, and then the mediator again is the one executing it, so that you separate again the dependency, and then you allow for more evolvable code. So implementation wise, simple command objects bind the action and the object wishing to invoke the action. So a simple command object at its most simple implementation bind the issuer or the command to the action, which is the what provided by mediator wishing to invoke the action. So they can consistently include an execution operation such as run method or execute method. Now all command objects with the same interface can easily be swapped as needed. which is one of the vital benefits of the pattern. Now, if that client here has the same interface to contact the mediator, then therefore you can use other mediator action. You can basically swap. That makes that command request evolvable. Basically, you can add not just execute, maybe pause method, or maybe try again method. So that will be able to you to process many actions with that command. To demonstrate the command pattern, we will create a simple or car purchasing service. So const car manager equal, inside this is an object, so inside is equal to an object, and then this object has a function request info with the parameter model comma id. Inside return code the information for a ternary operator using model variable with id. Ternary using id variable is foobar, then closing. Then for purchasing the car, we have buy vehicle function with the parameter model comma id. Inside is return you have successfully purchased item with the ternary operator id comma model. Then arrange viewing parameter model comma id, then return. So this object is an example of a command pattern. Let's expand this. So you're reading the example in your brain says, oh, a command is just an object with multiple actions like click, drag, buy vehicle, request info. It looks like that, but that example is actually showing two different things at once, and the book then explicitly separate them, which is why you're confused. I'm going to slow this down carefully because once this clicks, mediator, Redux, express middleware, your LiveKit controller, and even REST APIs all suddenly make sense. The real definition of a command, the important sentence. A command is a request turned into a value, an object. So that's kind of like a regular expression turned into a value, or kind of like a variable, which is just an identifier, not really the one being turned into a value, or being or not really the data, the regular expression that turned into or that really equal sign that actually write a new data, but instead just a identifier, a request turned into a value, an object that can be passed around, stored, delayed, logged, or handled by someone else, which is by a mediator. So it's just a request, an object. A mediator can still turn it whatever it suited it, not an action, not a method, not a click, a description of an action. The critical mental shift, there are two different ways to call behavior in programming. First, direct invocation, normal programming. You call the object directly. Chat panel that open method. Here, you know who does the work. You know the function name, you know the receiver. This is tight coupling. So there are two ways to call a command or like a behavior. So here the chat panel that open, you request the open, so you know who does the work, therefore it is not being controlled or being decided at runtime, because at runtime, like many people could try to open the chat, right? So here at compile time, you know who does the work, you know the function name, you know the receiver. So it's a tight coupling. Chat button must know chat panel exists. Second, command invocation, command pattern. You don't call the object, you create a message like dispatch with an object msg call object with a member msg with the value show underscore chat string. Now you are not opening chat, you are saying someone, whoever is responsible, please open the chat. The object is the command. The system later decides who executes it. This is why Redux actions are commands. So the redox action, again, that's a command because you're stating like someone, whoever is responsible, please open the chat. So you created an object or a request, so that's your responsibility, not really what happened to that object. Now the system at runtime can decide whoever execute it. Now why the car manager example confuse you? This const car manager equals to an object by vehicle with a parameter model comma ID and then an execution inside of another semicolon. It's not the command yet. The object is actually the receiver, the thing that knows how to perform work. So this object, the car manager, is not the command. It's actually the receiver we see in the graph, or the mediator. In command, this is the one that knows what to compute once it received the request, the command request. In command pattern, there are always four roles. Role, invoker, what it means, it sends the request. Role, command, what it means, the request object. So let me like reframe myself. The invoker, think of that as the client, or the one that issued the request. And the command is the request object. The receiver, role, performs the work. What it means, it performs the work here. So invoker, create a command, the receiver performs the work. Handlers, that's dispatcher, it routes the command to whichever object. So this receiver and handler and dispatcher, think of that as a mediator. The book showed the receiver first, which is why it felt like the command. The real command appears here. So car manager dot execute parameter by vehicle comma Ford Escort comma 3432. So here's the real command. So now the method name becomes data. So the method name becomes data. By vehicle is no longer a function call. It's a command message. So here, the car manager that execute, these are actually a command code with the parameter by vehicle because the method of by vehicle inside that object now becomes a data. It's no longer a function call, it's a command message. Now, the moment it becomes a command pattern, normal call, car manager that by vehicle parameter Ford string comma 1. Now, command pattern, car manager that execute parameter by vehicle string comma Ford string comma 1. Why is this important? Because now you can log it, retry it, queue it, send it over network, undo it, replay it. That is the real purpose of command pattern. So here, if you do this, command car manager that execute parameter by vehicle as a parameter comma Ford string comma 1. Now because you did this code, now you can now log it, retry it in as you can, aside from execute method, you can have log method, queue method, send or async method, undo method, replay method to your mediator or to this receiver. You can add that. Now that's the real purpose of command pattern. Now map it to your live kit controller, your code dispatch. Let's come back to this.